Hi, this is Jason. Another defining moment that comes to mind is I was about, I believe I was 7 years old, and I, my mother my mother had taken my sister and I to a place that had like a summer Bible camp kind of thing, and there was nobody there, so it was just my mom, sister, and I. We got to swim in the pool, and I remember my mom had told me not to get on the slide. Don't she said don't be getting on the slide or going in the deep water. And then her and my sister were just kind of decided to lay there getting some sun. So they weren't paying attention to me anymore. Um, and I decided to go down the slide anyway. And so I did. And when I hit the water was just a little bit deeper than I was tall. And I remember I tried and tried to get my head up above that water, but the water's like right here, and I just can't get to it. And so um, I started to panic. I remember I started thinking about things that I had done, like where I had done things to be mean to my sister, or just been grumpy with somebody, and I wish I thought to myself, well, if I'm not going to make it now, I really regret not being able to make amends for um, these things that I had done. And so I remember that was a thought on my mind, and I was thinking too that I really wish I could say goodbye, because in my mind I knew if I can get my head above this water, I'm gonna die. And so I was really concerned about that. I just wish I could say goodbye. And I was thinking about how bad my mom's gonna feel when she sits up from getting that, trying to get some sun, and sees me floating there. Um, and and then all of a sudden, I couldn't hold my breath any longer. And I remember um, I finally I exhaled, I believe, and then immediately went to breathe in, because that's the natural instinct after exhaling. And I remember I felt the water coming in my nose, and it felt like sucking up through a straw, but it was coming up through my nose. And I remember feeling the water go in and out like the way air would, but it was water. And I was at that point. Um, my short little life just it really literally it was like flashes before my eyes, of just different things throughout my life. It was almost like a projector of just different moments in my life up until that point of 7 years old. And I uh, I I remember that all of a sudden I became calm. I wasn't scared anymore. I completely uh, was relaxed, and I didn't have any worries anymore. Um, and I was at peace, and there was no fear, no concern. Just completely relaxed, and and the way I describe it is as if I was waking from a dream. The next thing I know, I'm standing there, and there's a man that had just pulled me out of the water standing there right beside me. And he says, "Are you okay?" And I'm coughing out water because I've got all this water in me. And and when he asked me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, but I'm just keep coughing this water out because I've got all this water in my lungs." And I know I looked down to see where my mom and sister were, and they were both still laying there, just laying there. They didn't know what had just happened. They were just laying there getting sun. And then when I looked back, the man was not there anymore. He had disappeared. He was gone. And that moment, I will say, like many other people I've talked to who have had experiences where uh, they they believe it was probably an angel. Some people, believe it was Jesus or an angel that uh, that was there that rescued them from different situations, and I'm not completely sure if it was Jesus or an angel that saved me, but I do know that it was one of the two. Um, but I will also say that that was one of the defining moments in my life that when I look back on it, it feels like it just happened yesterday. And um, for many years after that happened, I kind of put it out of my mind and didn't think about it that much. But as I became older and started wanting to know more about God and His Word, and got into the Bible and wanted to have more of a personal relationship with God, then I started really analyzing that time I almost drowned, and it has more meaning to me as time goes on when I look back at it. That's not the first time I've had a moment like that was spiritual. But the one thing I do want to say is people think that you have a spiritual moment like that and you're changed for life. No, in that moment, I had the experience, but when it was over, it was like back to the same old me. It wasn't like any drastic life changing thing, but it was there in my memory. It was something that happened, and I think as the older I get, and the more people, when I tell people this story, um, I feel more and more, I guess, close to the story or close to that moment. So when I was younger, after it happened, I just didn't think about it. But the older I get, the more I think about that, and I say to myself, there's a reason I'm still here, and I know God has a purpose for me, and that's what I want to do, is to serve Him, and that is my goal in life. Without Him, I wouldn't be here. Without Him, I would be dead. Many times, He has saved me from death, and that was the first time. Uh, okay, that was it for that defining moment. I will share another one when it comes to me. Thank you. God bless.